After the protest in Jantar Mantar came to an end, there is a race for the Gen Z vote. All political parties have become extremely aware of the power of the young voter in India. It is for this reason opposition has lashed onto it. Telangana's Chief Minister, Reinvented Reddy, has demanded that the minimum age of contesting elections be brought down to 21 from 25. This demand has been supported by Union Minister Jain Chaudhary. Germany and UK allow 18 years old to contest polls in Singapore, and in minimum age there for becoming Prime Minister is 21. In India, citizens can contest municipal and Gram Sabha elections at the age of 21. And Reinvented Reddy said the following.
21 साल के बच्चा IAS, IPS, यूनिकॉर्न्स, फॉर्चून 500 कंपनीज का CEOs सब कुछ बन रहा है. उनका शक्ति, उनके नॉलेज सब कुछ दिखते आ रहा है. फिर क्यों राजनीति में नहीं? हर चीज, हर मिनट, हर सेकंड हमारा युवा शक्ति देख रहा है, सोच रहा है, काम में लग गए तो कानून बदलने का समय आ गए. जब कुछ विचार के समय आ गए, दुनिया में कोई ताकत नहीं रोक सकता है. अभी युवा शक्ति ने सड़क में लड़ने से छोड़कर संसद में आने के लिए वो तैयार हो गए, वो आना चाहता है.
On the other hand, new online movements have made an appearance. Reservation Bachao Andolan in E20 Janata Party are two such online movements that have gained traction on social media sites. Then the pressure has also led to the government changing its strategy. The ruling dispensation has become active on Instagram. Prime Minister Modi has announced a committee to look into reforming the examination system of India. Government is already working to make punishment tougher and fast-track courts to have been set up. But the issue has refused to die down in Parliament. Because the big question is, will Gen Z protests be limited to education sector? Are Gen Z protests symptomatic of something deeper? Is Indian politics witnessing a churn? And have Gen Zs reinvented student protests in India? Let me take some vox pops first.
That age should not be less than 25. Everyone has their personal opinions and reviews, but if I see the age criteria is 25, that is personally very good at that level, because 25 is an age of maturity when person can achieve a mental stability and he can have their mental stability to take the decisions as of in the political influence or anything like that.
आज का युवान है जो जेन जी जनरेशन है, जो अपडेटेड जनरेशन कहा जाता है जिसको, कि जो पहले से ही टेक्नोलॉजी और राजकारण के नज़दीक रहा है ये युवान, क्योंकि अपनी डिमांड्स को पूरी कैसे करना है, अपनी डिमांड्स को फुलफिल किस तरीके से करना है, वो आज का युवान जानता है. और दूसरी बात ये है कि IAS, IPS जैसी जो एग्जामिनेशन होती है उनके लिए भी एज लिमिट 21 है.
On this issue, I'm joined by Sharanya Verma, student. She joins me from Shimla. I'm joined by Ishita Singh, actor and influencer. I'm joined by Brijesh Pandey, input editor. I'll be joined by my other guests, but thank you all of you. Let me just start by Ishita. Ishita, tell me, do you think that there's a race to capture this Gen Z movement by traditional political parties because they felt discredited? Their student politics have not flowered into something which the sort of protest which happened in Jantar Mantar created. I mean, so it led to resignation of a minister. After MJ Akbar, this was the second minister who had put in his papers. Do you think that India too, like UK and Germany, should allow young people to contest elections at the age of 21, both Lok Sabha and Assembly?
I think the whole perception for Gen Z and this generation, apparently, people used to say that we are going to destroy the whole generation because everybody is on social media, everybody is following, being a follower of, something they see on social media. I think it's a true example, this protest, and the victory of this protest is a true example that how a Gen Z can use the social media in a right way and not mainstream media covering the protest, but yet the real news, the real problems, the real issue, the real motive of the protest was being mainstreamed by the social media, by the youth, by the Gen Zs. So now everybody has all of a sudden started supporting Gen Zs. जो पहले they used to say that कि oh मतलब they're just wasting time, 8 hours on phone, 10 hours on phone. Now the whole perception is changing for Gen Zs. Now they are saying that Gen Zs are new future. Now they are saying that Gen Z should elect the election and the age limit should come down to 21 to 25. I think now they are understanding the power and the mental strength of Gen Zs. Earlier, like people used to discourage it in so many ways. Now they think to come in limelight we should bring out the issue of Gen Zs, bring down the age limit for being the part of the election, being elected at the age of 21. Now why they are coming with these points, why earlier they were not talking about it, is my question. My question is now everybody is all of a sudden being talking in favor of Gen Zs. Where are they earlier when things were happening with the students? Why didn't they talk then? Why everybody is talking now
Okay.
about Gen Zs?
Okay, let me take opening comments from Sharanya. Thank you so much for joining me from Simla. Your opening comments, suddenly now politicians are saying, Jayant is saying, the Chief Minister of Telangana is saying that basically age 21 is the Gen Z age, that they should be allowed to contest elections. Does it address the Gen Z issue?
Definitely, I don't think it addresses the larger issue, and the issue is not really a Gen Z issue. The issue concerns each and every citizen of our country, in the sense that this issue was not just a Gen Z issue, it was the issue of education. It was the question of education, and not just for Gen Z, but even for the upcoming generations. The generation that is called Gen Alpha. Education is something that secures the future for each and everyone, not just the current generation that we are calling Gen Z right now. Yes, that realization has come somewhere or the other, that, oh, this generation is not just, on their phones. They can get to the streets and hit the streets and talk about their rights and fight for their rights. But then the larger question is also about education. And it is something that needs to be addressed across states by different political parties and different ministries. And the question of education, and the question of just watering it down to Gen Z does not also seem fair, because then you seem to be playing this social media game and not talk about the actual issue, that is of education reaching to each and every student, be it them coming from any community, any background, or any financial background, for that matter. So I think that is education is the real issue here. And when the people of my generation saw that our education is being played with, and it is not reaching each and every one of us, I think that is what motivated all of us to hit the streets and take part in this movement.
Okay, Sharanya, tell me, what are the Gen Z anxieties? What are the Gen Z concerns?
The Gen Z concerns, I would say, see, when I look around, I'm a student, and when I meet other students in this 1 month long sit-in also, I was meeting so many people, and most of them had concerns. The people who gave re-NEET, obviously, they had so many concerns that we prepare for one competitive exams. People coming who gave different competitive exams would say that NEET is not the only exam that is leaked. It has happened across exams, it has happened across states. And they would say that our parents give so much money for coachings. We spend so much time, so much of our mental abilities go into that, and then a paper leaks. That is one issue. And then how we can see across universities, in public universities, the fee is constantly being raised. So education has become inaccessible to people. You can see that. I think in the last 10 years, around 90,000 government schools have been closed or merged. So we can overall see that the sort of attack on education is going on, and it directly affects the Gen Z. It directly affects all of us. When we go to our universities, we see that we don't have permanent faculties there. We don't have appointments for faculties even after our semesters start for 2 months. So when we are going to universities, we're paying the fee, we are expecting something. We go through the prospectus of a university and we think that, okay, now we are in higher education. And now our future will go towards a brighter on a brighter path. But then we see that in our universities, we are not getting the basic infrastructure.
Okay.
We are not getting permanent faculties.
Okay.
So that is the anxieties that we are facing each and every day.
Okay, I'll come to certain issues one by one. Let's just politically decode it with Brijesh. Brijesh, suddenly Revant Reddy gets active, then Jayant gets active. What does it tell us?
Well, it tells us that our political parties were slightly late, but they were quick to catch up on this new currency called Gen Z voters, and they are extremely enthused by the fact that what opposition parties were not able to do till in the last 12 years. I think these kids have been able to do. And that is the reason why everyone is all of a sudden has been alerted to the new political phenomena, I would say, which is called the Gen Z and the Gen Z voters. The question, the point which was raised by Revant or, Jain, the fact of the matter is that, by barring students or barring, youth at the age of 21 to contest from any kind of election is in itself quite duplicitous. When you can allow an individual, allow a young man at 18 to cast his vote, when you can ask, give him wherewithal to elect a leader, why can't he be the leader himself? At the age of 21, you can be an IAS, IPS, and they are extremely important, positions as far as bureaucratic positions, as far as, making sure that the government's policies are implemented on the ground. So I honestly, I do feel that, if you can lower down the age limit from 25 to 21, to get these youngsters elected to either Lok Sabha or even in assembly elections, it'll do the entire population, also our understanding of Gen Z, a world of good.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Ishita, coming back to the other issue. Now, there are a lot of, I would say, the pellet gun issue, the AK-47 issue, the FIR issue, but I really don't want to, focus on them first. What I really want to ask is, do you think that this entire Gen Z movement, Gen Z protest, Cockroach Janata Party, is it limited to one single issue of education, or do you think it can bloom into something different?
See, last time also I told you that I went, or I was the part of this protest not as a member of CJP, not as a member of any political party. I think Sharanya said it very rightly. It's an issue of every youth and every future which is being shaped by this country and which is being shaped by the government. So we are talking about the issues in the country. Education is one major issue which is being, becoming a business, that there is no fees limit. You in private schools now, a middle class people can also not take admission because the fees is so high, and because the currency is going so down, the on level of country where we are standing right now, we are at a very low bar. So if you strong the education, if you shape the future of the youth, we will, we'll go continue and make a better future and make a better, placement of our country globally. So education is one major issue why everybody came all united. There was no caste, there was no religion, there was no, divide and rule. Was the opposition, the BJP party was trying to, put the dispute in between the children, in between the youth, but nothing worked. Nothing worked, and that is a clear, a very strong example by this protest, when you don't divide yourself, when you all come united. So the, anybody will bend down, any government has to bend down when you. So this is the power of our unity. If we all come united and talk about the issue, like
Okay.
how we talked about education, similarly if you talk about the other issues like
Ishita,
ethanol.
there is also one more thing. Sharanya, tell me, there is something called student politics in campus, correct?
Yeah.
Correct. How is this Gen Z politics different from the student politics? I was yesterday thinking that JNU में भी एक आंदोलन हुआ था, उसमें कन्हैया था. They were also young people. how's that politics different from what the Gen Zs did? I mean, say he must be 22, 23 at that point of time. What was the difference that it catapulted the entire government in a different direction?
See, one thing that needs to be acknowledged in all of these, in this huge movement also, is the contribution of the student organizations. I myself, I am from the organization Students Federation of India, SFI, and I wouldn't say that there was much of a difference. I think the major difference was that it was being seen, and everything was being seen through social media, and everything was being communicated through social media, because there was an absence of mainstream media there. But the difference per se, I think it was the first time when campus politics also took not the first time maybe, but then it was also the student organizations that kept the spirits up at Jantar Mantar also, and gave it a direction, in which, because it's a huge, it was a huge crowd, and to give direction to a crowd, to give the correct direction to the crowd, and to sustain that movement on ground, to keep it alive for a month, for almost a month. I think that is something that the student organizations need to be given credit for.
So now let me straight away go to Sakhi first. Sakhi, we were discussing, now the Gen Z effect is being felt by entire political superstructure, and I was saying that you guys should get to fight elections once you are 21-year-old. Does it address the issue? Does it address what has happened in Jantar Mantar? Do you think is it a knee-jerk attempt to capture the mood of Gen Z, or do you think that young people should be in assemblies and Lok Sabha?
I mean, I'm not sure if everybody agrees, then we can do it. But is it really the issue that we really need to talk about right now? We fought such a big fight at Jantar Mantar for over 40 days, around 40 days, and there was barely the media was barely listening to us. The people in power were barely listening to us. So we need to make sure that our voices reach out. If I'm not really sure about 21 or 25, if that's going to solve our issues, but what we really need to start to talk about is the basic issues of education, and how much is the government tolerable of listening to us. We need to start speaking up on if they really want to take accountability. Right now also, when Dharmendra Pradhan has been removed and there is somebody else, Prahlad Joshi, how much is he also going to be listening to us? And if they really want to work in the favor of our youth.
Okay, Gopika, your opening comments.
I think that more than if or not, whether or not, the age relaxation should be lowered from 25 to 21, I think what the youth now needs is education. And it is that where the government is faltering. It is public education sector that is crumbling in front of us, and that is what the issue of the youth is. This protest rage comes obviously from the amount of paper leaks that have happened, but the rage goes far beyond it. People like me, people like Sakhi, Sharanya, all of us are in this rat race where we do not even know that end of this rat race, even after masters and PhD, whether there's any job guarantee. And without that job guarantee, lowering the age or relaxation in the age of going into the assembly won't do anything for the youth. And this is what the youth has been showing on the streets in Jantar Mantar across different corners of the country, coming out in numbers and saying that, you will have to stop the paper leaks from happening, because education used to be a sure short way of social mobility for many Indians. But now it is not so, because it's like a gamble that our parents are taking, investing money into education with without any promises of returns.
मैं आपका बिल्कुल हिंदी में बोल देता हूँ, साधुवाद करता हूँ. आपने बहुत सरल शब्दों में बहुत ही इम्पोर्टेंट बात बोल दी. मतलब आपने सच में बहुत सरल शब्द में बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट बात बोल दी. मतलब आई एम रियली इम्प्रेस्ड. एक्चुअली एजुकेशन in a post-colonial society like ours was about social mobility. If educated people like you do not get to climb the economic, political ladder, then it's a useless piece of infrastructure. Absolutely, Gopika, you have nailed it. Absolutely. I mean to say, if you have done your MA or BA diligently and you're still jobless, that is where the real anxiety is. So, what do you think? Will NEET resolve the problem? Will NEET exams solve the problem? Or
No.
it goes much beyond that?
It goes much beyond that. See, NEET is one issue where the anger has channelized. But what is centralization of examination doing to our country? In different parts of the country, different states, different universities has its own character. And institutional murders and students committing suicide did not start today. And the story of NEET should go back to the story of Anita, who comes from a very marginalized village of Tamil Nadu. She went to the Supreme Court and said that, no, I scored the highest marks in my 12th grade. Despite that, I'm not able to clear the NEET exam because there is an entire coaching mafia running behind it. And only if my parents have the money to send me to that coaching mafia, coaching institute, get me to that race, only then will I be able to clear it. So is it really fair at the end of the day? Is it really accessible at the end of the day? Is it really affordable at the end of the day? And this is the question. These are the questions that the youth of this country are asking. And youth coming from every parts of the country, not many of us are in urban centers, not all of us are in cities, not all of us have access to internet or YouTube channels or YouTube educators, not all of us have access to tuition centers or coaching institute. What about us when it comes to the race of getting into IITs? What about us when it comes to the race of getting into IIMs? And what about us when it comes to the race of getting through?
Vijay, today I was having a conversation with a colleague of mine. Was saying that, the irony is the rich has no problem because it can afford to send their children outside. The poor has no problem because, for them, that education is not required because they will be in a different sector working immediately at the age of 15, 14. It's the middle class which is feeling the crunch. There is an indebtedness in terms of education, and then there is no guarantee of a life path, which you get it. And in professions where you have those guarantees are very limited, like being an IS officer, an IFS officer. So for rest, it becomes an open game, full of ifs and buts. Vijay.
Yeah, so see, I don't agree with the point that the lower income people, I mean, the lower income society doesn't have the issue. It's just that they don't have an option. It's not that they don't have aspiration, or it's not that they don't have the talent, but they are not being given the opportunity. Over a lakh of government schools have closed. Many thousands of schools don't have access to toilets, and especially for women. Schools don't have electricity. Where the state I come from, Telangana, 5,000 government schools were closed in the last 2 years. So when these many government schools are being closed, where would the poor send their kids to? They don't have any other option, and that's the reason they go into the workforce right after their teenage or even during their teenage. So it is not a problem that is targeting only one section of the society. Everybody in their own aspirational way have an issue. Even the rich, for that matter, for the amount of taxes they pay, maybe they're not getting the services, they're not getting the public education they need. So every person from their own perspective is facing an issue in this country.
Maybe let me reformulate it for you. Maybe I said it in a wrong way. What I wanted to say was the pinch is being felt hardest by the middle class. I think that is what I wanted to say. Because, middle class is about that social mobility, and that's where the pinch has become hard. And middle class is not the middle class of 70s, 2%. Now we have a national middle class.
Agreed.
In a very Durkheimian sense, or the Weberian sense, we have a larger middle class now. We have middle class in tier 1 city, tier 2 cities, and even tier 3 cities.
I was there at Jantar Mantar for over 40 days from June 18th, right? The amount of volunteers, we have never even met any of them. Like, they were coming from different walks of life, different parts of the country. The kind of experience they had, the kind of backgrounds they came from was very enlightening to each of us to know what is happening at different parts of the country. Like late nights, we used to have discussions like Abhijit, Ashutosh, all of us together, just to get to know the volunteers and to know as to why they have come here. And like you rightly said, that each one of them is facing the pinch. Some of them didn't have the money to go pay for their tuitions and private tuition fees. So why should we invest? Why should middle class invest so much in private classes, private coaching centers? It's because our schools are failing. Our education system is not teaching them what is being asked in the competitive exam. So they need to shell out more money. This whole you know, the education mafia, you call it, or the system is not working coherently. It's not having outcomes and deliverables in line. It is here. It's everywhere. Like there's no end to it, and there's no understanding.
You guys have taught me something very important. Me being in part of traditional media, Brijesh, the politicians think by co-opting Gen Z in the electoral architecture, they might be able to subsume that energy. But, after talking to them, I feel that maybe they're not interested in direct, what you call legislative politics. For them, being political or in politics is a medium to address their issues, not to fight elections. Those two are different things.
Well, absolutely.
I'll just take one example.
I'll come to you,
When
Vijay.
it
Just let
comes
me
to
take
fee
a quick comment from Brijesh, then I'll come to you.
No,
Yeah.
I agree. But I think, given a choice, as, Revant Reddy and the other gentleman, the MOS skill, who is saying that the age should be reduced from 25 to 21. So I say, like, if you ask me, why not? Because this does give people, who are politically aware and who feel that, that they can go into or get ticket or go into assembly to make for a more meaningful change. See, the fact of the matter is that, political parties talk a lot about, lowering the age, or talk about women reservation and how, 33% of tickets should be, seats should be given to women for, comparing it with women empowerment. But they are not doing one thing which is well within their hand. Why not give a total number of seats, 33% of total number of seats which they have to women? It would be akin to a similar thing, but they don't do that. So I think, yes, anybody who gets a chance to get into assembly at the age of 21 would be someone who would be, completely well versed with the anxiety, completely well versed with the lingo of Gen Z, and I think he'd be a much more suitable representative of the era, rather than someone who is 50 and is completely has no idea or no clue about what is happening on the ground.
Yes, Vijay, you wanted to say something?
So I wanted to bring one point is the governments here across the country are only focusing on fixing the leakages. They don't want to fix or make a foolproof system. For example, there's a concept called fee reimbursement in Andhra Pradesh and Telangana, where the government reimburses the private tuition fee for the students who can't afford it. But they have been doing it for the past 15 years. They have been reimbursing the fee. I understand they're helping the students. But have they improved the standard of colleges? Have they improved the standard of junior colleges? No. And now they're in a financial crunch where unable to do the fee reimbursement. The colleges are not promoting the student. The colleges are not giving their certificates back. So the students are in a jeopardy here. The government claims to give fee reimbursement, but why can't you just improve the college infrastructure? Why can't you bring better professors, better investment and public money spent on colleges, but rather they're always in a hurry to fix the leakages. Like Band-Aid won't fix it.